Next, an unexpected loss of desire
Yes, my life was not the same.
leaves relationships lacking.
I miss wanting to have sex.
When W5 continues. In a moment,
It's close, baby.
the heavy toll of a life without passion.
There are probably many relationships that have failed because of this very reason.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to W5. We've all seen the ads. Handsome, middle-aged men who go from downcast to downright giddy in just a few moments. And what is supposed to have brought on that new spring in their step? A pill to give their sex life a much-needed boost. For nearly 20 years, there have been plenty of medications to treat male sexual dysfunction, and yet nothing for women. But that is changing. A new drug available in the United States is being targeted at women suffering from a desire deficit or low libido. But as Dr. Marla Shapiro reports, not everyone thinks that treating this problem with a pill is a good idea.
From the outside, it looks like Sherry Mike has the perfect life.
Almost.
A big, beautiful home,
You missed. Yeah. Try again.
2 healthy, happy kids, and a strong, loving marriage. But there's one aspect of her life that isn't working, and hasn't for a long time: her sex life.
I have no desire for sex. I have low libido. Well, not even low libido, no libido. There's just nothing there.
And there never has been during the 15 years she and her husband Brandon have been together.
When you first met your husband, what happened in terms of desire and the relationship?
We maintained a long-distance relationship for about 5 years. So whenever we saw each other, the desire issue that I was experiencing, I just kind of ignored it at that point.
Sherry says she lost her lust when she was a high school student in Winnipeg. She was 17 years old and had just started taking birth control pills.
I thought it's just a side effect of the birth control. Once I go off of it, it'll come back.
Decreased sex drive is a possible side effect for some birth control pills, but once a woman stops taking them, that drive should rev back up.
And it leaves me feeling, well, empty. We need to talk. Your empty friend, white crayon. I would, but
But
we're
her
no
desire
longer
never
speaking.
did
We
return,
You're-
not even when she stopped taking the pill to have their 2 children.
I miss wanting to have sex.
It's not that the couple don't have sex. They do, regularly. But Sherry, now 35 and living in Louisiana, lost her taste for it long ago.
Think of your favorite food, but you can't taste it. You'll eat it, but you can't taste it. You don't have that desire to eat it.
When people often think about women who have low desire, they don't picture you. You're young and, in a wonderful relationship, 2 healthy children. Yet this does impact you.
Yep, definitely. It's impacted me since I was 17, and I've been dealing with it for that long.
This must have had some impact on your relationship.
I feel a lot of guilt. He feels a lot of rejection. And so we go through this cycle of guilt and rejection, frustration. We're both frustrated. We're both disappointed.
A couple of states north, in Nashville, Tennessee, Amanda Parrish can relate to what Sherry has been going through.
There's a difference in duty and obligatory sex and wanting to have sex.
Amanda was deliriously happy when she started dating Ben in 2005. They were both coming out of unhappy marriages. They lead busy lives with demanding jobs and active kids. But she says their time alone initially was electric.
When we first started dating, things were magical, I guess, for a lack of better words. Very sexually charged, very energetic.
When did things change?
I would say somewhere along between years 3 and 4, I began to notice things were changing. I would be one of those women who found myself trying to be asleep before he came to bed at night, or trying to make excuses to stay out later.
She was still very much in love with Ben, but she no longer felt that sexual spark. Even packing for romantic getaways would fill her with dread.
It was sort of sad because no matter how much slinky lingerie I packed and how many little nighties, it very much felt like it was obligatory sex because no matter what beach he took me to, still was not bringing back the desire that I once had.
Did it impact on Ben? Did you feel that there was a change?
It definitely impacted our relationship. The sad part was we were suffering silently.
It didn't rain during the night, did it?
I don't think it did last night.
She didn't feel she could talk to Ben about her lack of interest in sex and didn't realize that he suspected the worst.
You know, I began to wonder if that was me, if it was something I was doing. Was it something, you know, from her standpoint? Was she unhappy? I also, at one point, even wondered if she might be having an affair because she was much less interested in having sex than she had been.
Do you think the fact that you were not as sexual then began to impact on the overall intimacy of the relationship?
It did. It did begin to impact it. You know, there are probably many relationships and marriages that have failed because of this very reason.
I did wonder what was wrong with me. I did address it with my physician 2 years in a row. The first year at my annual visit, I was told to just go buy a vibrator. Nothing was wrong with me. And the second year, I was told it's a normal part of aging. So you're busy, you've got 4 children, you know, this is just normal. And I was not really satisfied with either of those answers. At the time, I was mid-40s.
So you didn't buy that?
I did not buy that. You know, if my life as I know it is shut down at age 45 because of this, I'm in serious trouble.
They didn't realize it at the time, but it turns out Amanda and Sherry both suffer from hypoactive sexual desire disorder, or HSDD. Researchers believe it affects about 1 in 10 women.
HSDD is a specific condition, but other possibilities must be excluded before the doctor can make the diagnosis. Typically, a series of standard questions will be asked. We'll want to exclude anything that can impact on low libido, be it stress, anxiety, or depression, another medical diagnosis, or side effects of alcohol, drugs, and medication. In addition, the doctor will want to know whether or not there's any trouble in the relationship that could be impacting on intimacy.
Right from the first time Amanda learned about HSDD, before she had received an official diagnosis, she was convinced that was the cause of her troubles.
Literally, as I was reading the description, and there was a small questionnaire in there, it was like light bulbs going off in my head one at a time. You know, yes, I had quit initiating. Yes, I had lost interest. Yes, my life was not the same.
Good sex is good health.
Dr. Wendy Wolfman is a gynecologist and director of the menopause clinic at Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto.
What do you see women doing? What do they reach for?
I think there are some things that women can do. Couples counseling, going on a date, even going to a sex shop together. That can be something that's erotic. So these are some simple things that we can do that sometimes work.
Yet there still are women who complain they still have no desire.
Yes, and I absolutely believe that there is such a syndrome.
Then what is there to offer these women?
Well, that's a big problem because we need more research. The options for treatment for these women have really not advanced significantly. In the United States, there is a new medication that's been approved to address this situation of women who in every other way are well and yet still have decreased desire.
That new medication is this little pink pill, flibanserin, sold in the U.S. since October 2015 under the name Addyi, but not available yet in Canada. It was initially developed as an antidepressant, but wasn't very effective. However, researchers discovered it did have a remarkable side effect. It appeared to boost female libido. Encouraging news for women like Sherry.
It's really great now that there's an option for women.
But that option isn't without controversy.
Next, a pink pill hailed as a breakthrough
It was a pivotal moment in my life.
leaves some with doubts.
The drugs just don't work very well.
When W5 continues. In a moment,
We've been left high and dry.
is there bias in the bedroom?
There has been an expectation that men's sexual health is more important than women's sexual health.
We'll be right back.
Cleveland, Ohio, a city of 400,000 people on the shores of Lake Erie. And most famously home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But today, it's sex and drugs on the agenda at a nearby conference.
The most important sex organ is what? It's the brain.
Cheryl Kingsburg is a clinical psychologist and professor at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine in Cleveland. She's an educator on women's sexual health.
Because I think this is the biggest breakthrough in women's health since the pill.
She's talking about flibanserin, another truly groundbreaking pill. After all, for the past 18 years, there have been plenty of prescription medications to treat sexual dysfunction in men.
So why let erectile dysfunction get in your way? Talk to your doctor about Viagra.
Sometimes you need a little help staying in the game. Ask your doctor about new Levitra.
Cialis tadalafil for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment's right.
But flibanserin is the first one designed for women.
There are over 24 different types of products on the market for men. Yet now, in the United States only, there is one approved product for women. Why this difference?
The research in male sexual dysfunction was in a different realm, looking at the physiology of erections and how to measure that, for example, in a clinical trial, is relatively easier and objective. But I really think that there has been a double standard in our willingness to approve treatments for women's sexual problems. There has been an expectation that men's sexual health is more important to their quality of life and overall health than women's sexual health. That has been a cultural bias for a long time.
Flibanserin is targeted specifically at women suffering from hypoactive sexual desire disorder, or HSDD.
But HSDD isn't just the impact solely on desire. It's got to impact a woman on many other levels.
We have data that shows the impact of sexual problems, particularly low desire, on all aspects of women's health. It impacts their mood. It clearly impacts relationships negatively. Body image is impacted. Self-esteem is impacted. The impact of loss of desire affects every aspect of a woman's life.
Researchers believe that women with HSDD feel little, if any, excitement just prior to or even during sex. Their minds are prone to wander while they're having sex. They focus on any number of preoccupations: work, family, domestic chores, errands, just about anything except sex. Flibanserin is supposed to alter brain chemistry to address that. It decreases serotonin levels in the prefrontal cortex of the brain to dial down those overactive minds, while at the same time boosting dopamine and norepinephrine, the chemicals linked to sexual excitement. In 2009, when Amanda Parrish learned that drug trials were underway testing flibanserin, she signed up immediately. After all, she had been diagnosed with HSDD months earlier, and her once active sex life with her husband Ben was flailing.
So now you have the opportunity to enter a clinical trial. What happened?
Well, I started taking the medication. About 2 weeks into it, while texting Ben one day, I had a flutter. And I always say it was not a flutter in my heart, it was further south, and it was the first time I had felt that in a long time. So I texted him and asked him if he would like to have me for lunch. It was a pivotal moment in my life because it was the first time in a couple of years that I had that familiar interest and desire to go home and have sex.
So where did it go from there?
I actually became an active participant, which was delightful to me.
Ben noticed a big difference in Amanda's mood and outlook.
Suddenly, she was flirty again. She was initiating sex. She was suggesting we meet for lunch. So the turnaround was really amazing.
I often say that we attribute the clinical trial with saving our relationship.
Ben and Amanda believed in flibanserin so much, they became public champions of the drug, even traveling to Maryland to take part in the U.S. Food and Drug Administration hearings about its effectiveness.
I just felt like it was my duty to give the FDA a perspective from someone that had taken the medicine and had seen great benefit.
I just don't understand why this piece of the puzzle doesn't fit.
And according to Kingsburg, many of her patients, sufferers of low sexual desire, were eager to hear about flibanserin.
If there were a pill, would that be something that you'd be interested in?
would certainly want to try it. You know, when I kind of started on
Kingsburg has long been a strong advocate for the drug, working as a clinical investigator during the drug trials. She's even done promotional videos and been a consultant for Sprout, the drug company that manufactured flibanserin.
Women coming into trials, women coming into my office have reasonable expectations. They're not asking to be hypersexual. They're wanting to restore what they had, which is to have desire sometimes.
But is flibanserin the answer? Dizziness, nausea, low blood pressure, and even loss of consciousness are among the possible side effects, and critics are quick to point out that it's only been proven to be effective in 1 of 10 women suffering from HSDD.
The results are poor at best in terms of increasing women's desire or in terms of increasing their experience of sexual satisfaction. The drugs just don't work very well. She was seen in the gynecology clinic today.
Dr. Jonathan Huber is an Ottawa gynecologist who specializes in treating women with low sexual desire.
Is there no role for medication for low desire with women?
Certainly there is no medication out there that's going to address any relationship problems you have, that's going to make you more attractive to your partner or more attracted to your partner, that's going to increase the way you communicate about your sexual life with your partner. There is no pill that's going to do that.
And initially, the FDA agreed, saying the drug's impact was not robust enough to justify the risks. The FDA rejected the drug in 2010 and again in 2013.
Sounds like we've been left high and dry.
That triggered a marketing campaign by drug companies and women's health groups suggesting the FDA rulings were sexist.
What the f***? Are we really so far behind that we don't think women have the right to sexual desire? Yet again, we come second.
Finally, after further research and public consultations, in August 2015, the FDA reversed its previous decisions and approved flibanserin.
So eventually the drug got approved. What was, you smile as I say that. What was your response? I think that's pretty evident.
My response was to be among the first to be at the drugstore the first day that it was available to get the prescription filled. Now, we were very excited about the drug being approved, and we literally were among the first people, I think, in the country to get a prescription filled. And I think it's good news not just for us, but potentially for lots of other couples as well.
Has this become a cause for you?
I guess if you want to call it a cause, it has. It's become a passion. I'm such a crusader, and once I started reading all the statistics and the data and hearing all the critics, I just felt someone needed to offer a voice on the other side. I just feel so strongly that for Ben and I, it was life-changing and relationship-saving.
But Dr. Huber remains unpersuaded. He maintains medications aren't the answer and insists the better approach is to teach women that it's perfectly normal for desire to evolve over time.
One of the things that we do is try to educate people about what is normal and normalizing their experience. For lots of people, that's all that they need to know. So people say, I used to have a spontaneous desire and now that's gone and I want to have that again. The more normal experience is the experience of desire comes after that feeling of arousal.
So what you're saying then is that women just have to accept that it's different now.
It's not about it being different or accepting something that's less or more. It's about accepting what is the normal reaction for people.
Is there that woman out there for you where medication would be an answer? Does that woman exist?
I haven't seen it yet.
It isn't a one-size-fits-all. I think flibanserin will work for millions of women, but it won't work for everybody. We need more options. Just like one treatment for male sexual dysfunction wasn't enough, we need more options for women.
More options for women like Sherry Mike. Unlike most Canadian women, she has been able to get a prescription for flibanserin because she's living in the U.S.
Unfortunately, it didn't work for me, and it was disappointing.
For nearly 20 years, she has suffered from low libido. And while this treatment wasn't the answer, she's optimistic that there will soon be other options for women like her.
I know that it's helping so many other women, and while it's a disappointment to me, I think it's just a stepping stone to other treatments in the near future.
Sales of flibanserin in the U.S. have been less than spectacular, and Valeant, the company that makes the drug, plans to relaunch it with a new marketing campaign later this year. As for Canada, Valeant filed for approval to make the drug available here last November, but is still waiting to hear from Health Canada. We'll be right back.